This is library.
Asians are 5.6% of the U.S. population, so they're definitely a minority, more so than blacks, who are 13% of the population, and Hispanics, who make up 17%. But since the word minority has been redefined by leftists to mean oppressed, you don't hear Asians referring to themselves as minorities. I guess they get that the left's victimhood ideology is detrimental, especially in terms of succeeding in a meritocratic society. And race baiters also have to hate that Asians don't complain about being underprivileged because they were discriminated against decades ago. You just don't hear a lot of rhetoric about white privilege coming from Asians. And race baiters really hate that Asians don't blame white people today for what their ancestors went through, like having to build the railroads under inhumane conditions. And they don't buy into the rhetoric that they're being marginalized every time someone stereotypes them and makes a joke. Maybe because they get that stereotypes are based on a measure of truth. That's what makes those jokes funny. Or maybe because they're too busy getting educated and opening businesses to worry about all that shit.
From now on, I too will be abstinent. I'll be as untouched as the turn signal in an Asian woman's car.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else!
Asians have the highest median income and education level of the major demographic groups in the U.S. And how they pull that off is no big secret. They did it by focusing on family and education. They are family and education oriented, and there's a slew of reasons why that matters. For example, single-parent households are generally poorer, and the teen pregnancy and high school dropout rates are through the roof with kids raised in single-parent homes. Now, by family-oriented, I don't just mean keeping the family together, but also putting real effort into raising your kids. For example, Asians don't do a lot of beating their kids compared to the rest of us. And when there's a lot of physical putting your hands on a kid, it's easier for that kid, when he gets older, to in turn put his hands on others. And they instill in their kids a strong work ethic and a strong sense of personal responsibility. In short, they teach their kids how to succeed in a merit-based system, which is what we have here in the U.S.
You can tell your child, you're amazing all you want, but that doesn't instill true confidence. True self-esteem has to be earned. True self-esteem has to be earned.
Now, it's easy to verify that the success of Asians in America isn't some kind of fluke. A gander at the demographics shows lots of subgroups not only do better than whitey in median income and education level, but better than Asians too. And those groups all have something in common. You guessed it. They're family and education oriented, which is about the same thing as saying they place a strong cultural emphasis on personal responsibility and hard work. Nigerians are one subgroup example that has a higher median income and education level than Asians. And even though many come in at the bottom with little money and sometimes little knowledge of English, they rise both in the schools and in the economy. The majority of the black students at Harvard are from Africa or the Caribbean, and Nigerians are already way overrepresented at Wall Street investment banks and blue-chip law firms.
Here is a great story for you. You're about to meet a New York whiz kid who has been accepted to every college he applied to, including all 8 Ivy League schools, and now all he has to do is choose. Harold Eke is a senior at Elmont Memorial High School. He joins us live now. Congratulations. Thank you. For all the parents watching right now whose kids want to go to a great college, how did you do it?
I would say I worked pretty hard. I definitely tried to apply myself and try to take advantage of every opportunity that was afforded to me in my high school. And I'd say I'm pretty self-motivated. I try to, reach out to my teachers, and I was very involved in school. So I think
well, you know all about opportunities. You came to this country from Nigeria at age 8.
Yeah, 8 years.
And in the beginning, could people understand what you were saying?
No, not really. I spoke with a very thick accent, and I'd say it was difficult trying to adapt to the new environment and absorb everything, the new culture. But my parents set a very good example for me and my.
And your parents were doctors or something like that?
No, they were just they worked at Target at first. When
they were clerks at Target.
Yeah, they definitely struggled, to find stable jobs to support my family.
One valedictorian from Elmont Memorial High School has gotten into
every Ivy League school.
Congratulations to Augusta Uamanzuna, 17 years old from Elmont. You are on fire. Congratulations.
Thank you. And her parents are here, Basila and Tobias.
Yes.
Nice to have
Fabulous.
you both here.
Well, have you made a decision? Do you know where you're going?
No, like I literally found out last week Thursday, and it's such a great honor to just get into all 8 of them, because you would just dream of getting into one.
What was your safety school?
I applied to like other schools other than the Ivy, so I applied to like Rensselaer Polytechnic, NYU, MIT, and Johns Hopkins.
Did you get into all those schools too?
Yes, I got into all those schools.
MIT too. Wow. MIT is your safety school.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, one would only dream to get into one of those institutions.
What do you want to study?
I was interested in studying science, so hopefully combining biochemistry.
Yeah.
with
When you found out
environmental
about your daughter's acceptance to all these great schools, what was your reaction?
Actually, I was very happy when she called me. I was yelling, so proud and excited.
Moms have a tendency to yell when they're happy and when they're sad.
Yes.
But you knew she was happy.
Yes, I knew she was happy. She was yelling like I thought I was
You have
going to
brothers
go
and
deaf.
sisters?
Yes, I have an older brother who attends Cornell University. He's a freshman, and I have 2 younger sisters, one in 10th grade and one in 7th grade.
Wow, the bar is set very high in your house. What is your success to like getting these kids to do so well in school? What do you tell them at home?
We just explained to them, you know, where we're coming from personally, you know, and
you're immigrants, right?
Yeah, we're immigrants
From where, sir?
From Nigeria, the eastern part of Nigeria. So we just, you know, tell them stories about our belief in education and being dedicated to it and knowing what you want, and then, you know, they took it from there.
Spreading a false narrative is one thing. Spreading a false narrative that instills animosity, hatred, and resentment in the minds of young people is immoral. And it's inexcusable. Inexcusable because there's a world of knowledge at our fingertips. And just a cursory glance at any of the claims that define Black Lives Matter shows those claims don't hold water. We know hands up, don't shoot didn't happen. And if you don't know that, look it up. But don't just look up someone's commentary on it. Look up the facts. Look up why the grand jury reached a decision to not indict Darren Wilson. Same with the claim that when you take population into account, blacks are arrested, imprisoned, and killed by police at a higher rate than whites. Actually, that's true. They are. But not because of systemic racism, which is the crux of their claim, but because the black demographic commits more crime, especially violent crime, a lot more. And any demographic, regardless of race, that commits a grossly disproportionate amount of more crime is going to come in contact with the police more. Then, when you add resisting arrest at a higher rate and shooting at cops at a higher rate, you're going to get being shot by cops at a higher rate. No racist conspiracy necessary.
But to come out with the rhetoric that the police officers were racist when there's no evidence to indicate that racism was involved has got to stop. All right? If that doesn't stop, and this thing about the disparity of blacks and whites in jails, that's got to stop, because I got statistics right here which will prove me right. In New York City alone, okay, blacks are 23%. They make up 75, right, of the population. 75% of all shootings, 70% of all robberies, and 60% of all violent crimes. All right? The whites, only 3%. Now, that is why there were more blacks in jail than there are whites. But that's okay. And now let me just finish here, and then you go. All right. So we look at that statistic. All right. They turn it around. You know, the racial demagogues out there turn it around that the blacks are being picked on. It's not. So the facts in these statistics, all right, have to be addressed, and you've got to understand them.
Now, someone's going to say, what about the Tamir Rice incident? I get Tamir wasn't a criminal committing a crime, but just a kid playing with a pellet gun that unfortunately looked like a Colt 45 semi-automatic. And most people agree that the police made a tragic mistake. But Black Lives Matter takes it further and blames it on racism, with the narrative that it wouldn't have happened if Tamir had been white. But I think the facts show something different. The Washington Post keeps track of police shootings in detail. And when you look under type of weapon, toy weapon, you see that there are 43 people who were killed that year because they had a toy gun. 29 were white, 6 were black. I don't see the racial bias here. Now, of course I'm not saying racism doesn't exist, but that racism doesn't exist on the level or on anywhere near the scale that Black Lives Matter wants people to believe it does. Our society's rejected racism as it's rejected plenty of other bad ideas, like women being second-class citizens who can't have their own bank accounts. And saying that in 2017, black Americans can't rise because of racist barriers is the same as saying in 2017, Asians don't have a Chinaman's chance at success here. I think people who believe there's systemic racism in America don't know what that word means. And a Google search of policies in South Africa during apartheid would solve not understanding what systemic racism is. Anyway, the bottom line is young people need direction and sound advice, not lies that corrupt their minds. So finally, to be clear, when I say Black Lives Matter hates Asians, I'm obviously not saying they literally hate Asians just for being Asian, but that Asians, a minority that historically experienced brutal discrimination in America, are thriving in America today. And that contradicts the Black Lives Matter narrative that America is an oppressive white supremacist country. In other words, Asians are proof that in 2017 America, people are defined by their choices, not by the color of their skin or the shape of their eyes.
Do you wake up every day thinking, I am not going to succeed today because of white privilege?
No, obviously not. You see, I'm my own businessman.
Would you even think it's damaging to tell your kids and teach your kids, if you're a black kid, that you're not going to succeed in life because you have
Of course.
privilege?
Of course. It makes them think, okay, well, I'm going to be nothing. If I want to be a doctor, I can't even do that anymore. It gives them no hope.
Color ain't stopped nothing. I mean, it's a myth. It's America. If you're willing to put forth an effort, you'll do what you got to do.
No, it sounds cliche, but I can accomplish anything.
If you let something stop you, then that's you. Me, I ain't let nothing stop me.
Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't or
Today?
cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that.
Perfect. Smart, simple, and logical.